Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I think a lot of Democrats are hurt tonight. I think there's a lot of hurt out there. There's a moral victory and there's a political victory. They're not the same thing. The political victory still may come. I think for people who saw babies being snatched away from their mothers at the border, for people who are sending their kids into schools where the N-word is now being used against them, for people who have seen this wave of intolerance, they wanted a moral victory tonight. We wanted to see a repudiation of this direction for the country. And the fact that it's this close, I think, it hurts. It just hurts.
You don't get it. People don't get it. Trump, at this point, I don't think he's going to win. And then it's going to go to courts. And I tweeted out earlier, you know what this is? How many of you have been involved in a class action lawsuit? Raise your hand. Right? You get the class action lawsuit. You're like, I'm getting into this thing. And then you get into it and you opt into it. And then you're like, hey, I got into a class action lawsuit. You tell some people, I got into this class action lawsuit. And then what happens? You forget about it. And then 3 months later, you get a letter in the mail. You're like, I forgot about that. And you open it up and you get a 42-cent check that you never cash. That's what this is. That's what this is. But people don't understand, especially people on the left. First of all that crap. Kids are going to school. The N-word's being thrown around. Enough. You know what? You're looking everywhere for the evil that doesn't exist. It just doesn't. Are there some bad people out there? Yeah, there's bad people out there. Is it the way that you think it is and describe it as this everywhere you turn, everybody's a racist? How many of you out there know a bunch of racists? Real racists, Nazis, real guys living in the wood, Nazis ready to come out and start a race war. You're like, I don't. No. How many of you out there understand this isn't about policy? It's not even about Trump. He's going to potentially he's going to lose this thing and have more votes. I've always said this. Is this a movement or a moment? For Trump, it was a movement. Trump stood up and said, I think American people have had enough. The elites that are out there, you guys know exactly who you are, right? Scott Jennings put it very, very well last night.
But there's been a clear realignment here for the Republican Party to attract new working class voters of all races. And I think also, Don, there's been a rejection of the Democratic Party, of the media in some cases, of the liberal elites in rural America. They feel like they are held to different rules, double standards, and they've been browbeaten over their support of Donald Trump. And they turned out in droves yesterday to let folks know it. So obviously Republicans had something to say last night, and it's not all bad for the party right now.
No. You know what it is? It's about the First Amendment. It's about people being sick and tired of being told, first it was, what? They're all deplorables, if you like Trump. Then it's, everybody's a racist. That red hat is, that right there is, that amounts to wearing a Klan outfit. We want to cancel people here and cancel people there. We want to limit your speech over here, limit this. We want to change history. Good history and bad history, we don't care. We want to change it. We want to change America. And we've got a bunch of young kids over here that have come out of their ideological bastions of school and insanity who have been preached to for the last several years and told that America sucks. And what you really need to do is change everything. And you need to destroy all that is America and what built America. This has nothing to do with his policies. Oh, it's about the rich. People always ask, well, why do poor white people vote against their best interests? I said, because you think it's about money. It's not. It's about liberties and freedoms. People are sick and tired being told, hey, you're a white person, so automatically you're probably a racist. They're sick and tired of being told that they can't question some things like, hey, you know what? Maybe a 5-year-old doesn't get to pick their gender and start hormone therapy. We're gonna give a hard pass on that for right now. They're sick and tired of being told all of these things and being accused of all of these things. It's not about money. The left likes to make it about money. You're voting against your best interest. No, the best interest is We have a Constitution that guarantees certain inalienable rights. And guess what? We feel like this is going on. Can't tell me. You can't walk on a college campus today and tell me that there isn't a hard skew to the left where you can't even have a conversation in this country where you can get banned. For what? It is not about policy. It's not about politics. Trump just stood up and said, yeah, I hang out with these people. I think they're a bunch of a-holes. Let me tell you something. You guys seem to be all right. And he started something. Now, do I think he's going to win? I don't know. Do I think it matters at this point? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. He may finish with 70 million votes. Almost 10 million more than he had last time. He got some things right. And some of his policies were good. He had peace in the Middle East. He had a lot of these things going on that completely get ignored. But people are sick and tired of it. And I think that's what it said last night more than anything. More than anything. You listen to a lot of these people on all these, MSNBC, CNN, New York Times, and all of these things. And you know what you hear? America sucks. All that's wrong with America. If you don't believe like we believe, you shouldn't even have a voice. And that, yes, feelings matter over facts. After a while, it wasn't even the deplorables. It's just the fact that, hey, they really do think we suck. That's it. That's it. How would you know, Chad? I grew up in Southern California. I grew up in Los Angeles. I have a lot of friends who are uber progressive, and they kind of think the middle of the country and some of these other places, a little bit of knuckle draggers. You know, when I moved to Texas, it's been a couple of years out there. I had friends when I came back going, how did you survive out there? Like, what do you mean? Well, it's so racist. I'm like, no, it's not. No, but it is. But it's not. I said, let me tell you something. I live in San Antonio. It's one of the most diverse cities I've ever been in my life. And I said diverse in ways that we don't have in Southern California. It was a moment that became a movement that continues. And you're missing the point. New York Times brought in Barry Weiss after what took place in 2016. She just left there. She left there because she was brought in to help kind of reset what was going on. The New York Times like, we thought Trump was going to lose and Hillary was going to win. And what's this middle America? What's this place called Iowa? Who are these people? And so they brought her in because she was going to be the voice of reason. She was going to help essentially translate what they were about. And instead, they fought her at every single instance to the point where it got so untenable for her after she allowed Tom Cotton to write an op-ed piece that people at the New York Times were saying, I don't feel safe to work here. Are you kidding me? People are missing the point. You think it's about money and free stuff, and why do poor white people or, middle of the road white people? You're missing the point. It's not about that. It's not even about Trump. It's about the fact that people are sick and tired of being labeled, of everybody assuming all of these things, of watching TV 24/7 and seeing people bash the president, bash people in middle America, bash people in the South. People got sick and tired of it. And at the same time, those people would do something that if anybody else did, they'd get canceled. Their life would get ruined. The people that they watch on television or YouTube or anywhere else are getting canceled left, right, and center. They're seeing free speech erode. And they're being told it's for their own good. You're missing the point. Over and over again, I watch the battle go on, and I say to myself, you're missing the point. This isn't about money. It's not about policy. It's not about a lot of those things. There are things that you're just not getting. there's something that resonated with Trump. And you know what it was? He was uncancelable in life. He was. You weren't going to get rid of him. You weren't going to cancel him. Oh, yeah, he may lose this, but he started a movement. And that's not going anywhere. The issue is, what do the Republicans do from here? Because to keep it, you got to figure out who's going to lead it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. So at the end of the day, what do we have? Nothing. That's it. Maybe a few days before we know. And look, I'm not going to sit here and try to, pontificate. Well, Pennsylvania and over here, DeKalb and DeKalb County and here, and you've got Fulton County and stuff. We're going to figure it out. It may take a few days. And at the end of those days, it will take longer because lawsuits will fly in. So be prepared for somewhat of a delay. Best way to describe it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. Twitter, tweet, text. Love hearing from all of you rough greens. So I love my dog Doodle. I didn't get to go home last night because I was here for, I don't know, it seemed like forever. I got here yesterday at like 2:30 in the morning. Left at midnight. But I love my dog Doodle, and I make sure he has all the best things in the world. And I was talking to rough greens. I said, Chad, let's do this. Let's give everybody a free bag. If you want a free bag to put it to the test, we'll call it the Doodle test, then allow them. Just tell them they got to pay shipping, $6.95. You get the same stuff Doodle did. It's not dog food. It's supplements for your dog's food, and you sprinkle it on top, and it's got vitamins, minerals, vegetables, omega-3, 6, 9, probiotics, all of those things, and let them put it to the test. Normally, rather than the Jumpstart, we're going to give them a full bag, which costs $30 normally, and they can test it out. It has worked for my dog, and I swear by it. If you love your animals like I love my animals, try it. It's free. Pay $6.95 for shipping, and that's it. Go to roughgreens.com/Chad, ruffgreens.com/Chad. Try it for yourself. Free. Again, free. Free 99, as they like to say. Roughgreens.com/Chad. Rough Greens, we make any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Warning, no snowflake zone. Uninformed opinions are in danger of melting. The Chad Benson Show.
This is a fraud on the American public.
No, it's not.
This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election.
No, you didn't.
So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation.
It's not a fraud. It's not. Sorry, it's not a fraud. I don't like the fact that he came out and did that. You didn't need to do that coming out last night. This is when you're measured. This is the stuff that Trump, this is where I'm like, dude, come on. And nothing going on here. Here's the beauty of it. You want states' rights? Well, states have are allowed to do what? Decide how the election process is going to go. And that's what's going on. You came out tonight and you riled up a base that doesn't really need much riling up at all. It's not a fraud. It's not. None of this was a fraud at all. Now, you can ask some questions when it comes to some of these votes that are being counted that you say, well, they don't have a postmark. Well, then, you know what? Let's ask some serious questions there. But the reality is this is why everybody's lawyered up. And I have a feeling that we're going to get in one of those situations like we got in Gore versus Bush. What you guys don't remember is, do you remember that each candidate had people inside at the counting places, the representative, and they're deciding, okay, do we challenge? We challenge that. And you're challenging that. Is that going to be one of these? It's possible. But last night, him coming out and doing that, I'm sorry. I just thought this is asinine, but this is Trump.
By prematurely doing this, if there is a flaw in it later, he has undercut his own credibility in calling attention to that flaw. So I think it's a bad strategic decision. It's a bad political decision.
Yeah, Chris Christie. I think it was. I think that you didn't need to do this. I thought Biden in this situation was very, very measured.
Your patience is commendable. We knew this was going to go long. but who knew we're going to go into maybe tomorrow morning, maybe even longer. But look, we feel good about where we are. We really do. I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election.
Now, do I think that? Well, he's up in Wisconsin. He's up in Michigan. Trump's leading in Pennsylvania. Georgia is going to be very close because the places they're going to count tend to lean pretty Democratic. At the end of the day, though, you're coming out and saying you won when you didn't win. This happens all the time. I'm out here in Arizona. Let me tell you, 4 years ago was a disaster. Was a disaster. Now, they did a really good job now, but it was. And every state sets the way that it does elections. If you want to have it federally, and that's what you want to do, then you argue amongst the states and what you want and how it should go. But it wasn't like people didn't know. That's why they lawyered up. And it's not just Trump. Biden's lawyered up as well. Everybody's got a war room of lawyers. He's cheating. No, he's cheating. No, he's cheating. No, he's cheating. It's a joke. It is. We'll find out when we find out. And some of it may end up in court in a much further, and I would say by further, I mean, I think it'll get there quicker, but I think, further along this thing goes. Yeah, Trump wants it to end up. He said, I want it to go to the Supreme Court because I think he thinks he's got everything in his bag and that none of these people have any scruples and they're just going to hand it to him. But they've already handed down a few in his directions that aren't wins. If it does go to court, I think it'll get there quick. I don't think we're going to have the same thing that we had in 2000. It's just not going to happen that way. We'll get there quicker. But we will get there. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text, love hearing from every single one of you. It's the Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Under Pennsylvania law, if the election's decided between 0.5%, in other words, if it's that narrow, there's an automatic recount. Candidates can petition for recounts as well, and then that will be decided.
Yeah, and I think that that's going to happen. Some of these things are so close that they're going to happen. And it's not just, we forget about this, that because we're so hyper-focused. People, I think, thought, well, I have to vote for other things? I can't just vote for the president? No. There's other things, right? Your local municipalities, right? Your mayoral races, your state senate and races and Congress races. You have all these things that you know, and if not to mention in many states, the ballots. I mean, decriminalizing, pretty much everything in Oregon, because Oregon's like, hey, you know what? We're doing so well with this. Let's just let it roll. D.C. said, hey, psychedelics, mushrooms, they're okay. We're going to decriminalize that. Arizona, by the way, for those of you not keeping score, Trump got mad at this last night because Aaron Mishkin, who is their election desk person, early in the night, when nobody else did, he called Arizona. Pissed Trump off. We were here till midnight. We wouldn't call it because we're hearing they have all these other votes out. And it was hilarious. And then they called him on it, and he doubled down.
What I think we've heard from the White House is that they are expecting that they need just to get 61% of the outstanding vote, and there are 870,000 outstanding votes, and they'll be getting that. That's not true. The reality is that they're likely to get only about 44% of the outstanding votes there. We're right now sitting on a race that is Biden at 53%, Trump at 46%. I'm sorry, the president is not going to be able to take over and win enough votes to eliminate that 7-point lead that the former vice president has.
And Arizona is blue. Mark Kelly wins. So you got two state senators. You got two senators going to D.C. that are both from the left side of the aisle. You have got 6 congresspeople that are Democrats and 3 Republicans that are Democrats. You had marijuana getting legalized. It's the California effect. A lot of people from California moved here. It's a changing demographics. You're not changing people's minds that are here. What you're doing is you're just moving people in with a mindset that's different. They're coming here because why? Well, it's cheaper, right? Less taxes. You're moving from California because you're sick of the taxes. You're sick of the regulation. You're sick of all of those things. So you're moving to a place like this, or you're going to a place like Texas, and you're like, hey, we did a great job over there by screwing that up and putting insane people in charge. Why don't we move somewhere else and see if we can do it again? Because this place is unlivable. So there you go. But he doubled down last night. And people are like, I can't believe Trump even has a chance to win. He lost Arizona. And he still might have a chance to win. This may go to the Supreme Court. And as we all know, the Supreme Court has been involved in rulings before when it comes to elections.
One tricky thing here is that the recount procedures in Pennsylvania call for different counties to count the ballots different ways. Now, that brings up a problem with that case of Bush versus Gore. They said there were too many different ways of counting the ballots in Florida, and that violated the equal protection rights of voters in one county when their votes are being counted differently in another county.
And that's maybe, and that's not stealing, that's just the reality of the way it is. In some places, you know, things got to be postmarked. Well, I should hope so. Don't confuse nefariousness with, don't confuse incompetence with nefariousness. Because I think a lot of people do. But it's not even just, we think, well, doesn't everybody count it the same way? No, some places start in the 2, 3, 4, 5 days before. Some start a couple weeks before, but they don't release the results until the day of, after the polls close. They'll release those immediately. Some start the absolute day of, and then they count not those things first, the absentees and the mail-ins. They count day of voters first, then they count the outstanding absentees and mail-in ballots. So you're like, this is all confusing. But even in those states, some of them, like this county over here, well, County A, they count their votes this way. County B, they count their votes this way. And that's the equal protection, where people are saying, well, why don't you guys at least in the state count everything the exact same? I think he's going to win Pennsylvania. I don't think he's going to win Michigan, and I don't think he's going to win Wisconsin. And that makes it essentially Biden's. Oh, Chad, what if he loses? I don't know. What if he does? I'm going to just do what I always do. Go to work. Nothing's going to change. The Senate didn't flip. Republicans held on. Right? Hickenlooper won. It's a win for them. And they flipped McSally and they put in Mark Kelly. But they gained Tommy Tuberville, who, by the way, is the former Auburn coach in Alabama. So that was a victory for them. Senate, not going to change. At the end of the day, even if Trump loses, not a lot's going to change. Biden goes in there. The House is the House, which it already is. And then you've got the Senate. So there's enough gridlock in there that not a lot's going to get done. Most of what's going to get done is going to get done through executive orders. Oh, they may get some bipartisan stuff. And remember, bipartisan means, we're going to spend your money the way that we want to. And we're going to spend more of it the way that we want to. But that's where we are. But take a deep breath. So funny I thought, oh my God, what's going to happen? Oh, people are, they're still they're going to be counting votes in some places throughout the day. And here's the thing. Last night, there were places that were supposed to close. They decided to keep things open overnight. Georgia, Pennsylvania, Michigan, they decided we're going to just count through the night, which you guys should have been doing. It's so funny when I ask people, because we talked to a few, county recorders and people yesterday, and I was asking, like, why? Well, there are people, too. I'm like, you can hire enough. I mean, I think we can all agree on that. Georgia, still counting.
By midday, we should be pretty much through it. Probably by the end of the day, we'll definitely have it done.
Yeah, and that's good. Get it done. I didn't think we would know on the night, but I think what's going to hold it up is Michigan and Pennsylvania and lawsuits. So even if somebody comes out and say, all right, we can now call it for Joe Biden, he will be the president-elect, expect lawsuits. And if Trump wins if something happens, you can expect Biden. It's going to be probably settled in the court, but I think this will not be like 2000 because I think they'll get through this thing in a much quicker way. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text the program. One thing is for sure, Rahm Emanuel.
The polling was wrong. It was wrong again, even worse than it was in 2016.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It was wrong. It was wrong big time. 12 points. Biden leads by 15 points. He's got a 10-point lead nationally. He's got 11. He didn't. He didn't have any of those things. It was a nail-biter. And at this moment in time, while Trump may or may not win, either way, he's still going to have potentially 70 million votes, 9 million votes, potentially more than he had 4 years ago. That's why I said earlier, it's a different thing. It is not what everybody thinks it is with Trump. He started something. He started a movement. He started a movement for people who were completely disenfranchised, who were sick and tired of being looked down upon in ways that other people are like, well, that's not it. No. People are sick and tired of being told that they're racist. They're sick and tired of being told that voting for Trump makes them bad people. They're sick and tired of being told over and over again what other people know what's in their best interest. The polling was wrong because they underestimated the excitement that Trump builds. And he builds excitement. And yesterday it showed.
He turned out a vote that nobody saw in any baseline was there, that there was more Trump voters that did not vote in 2016. And he, I think by sheer force of will, made him show up. And you can see that by the tightness of this race that was not projected in the polls.
No. And why is that? Because the guy that tends to get this thing right, apparently, over there at not 538, Nate Silver, but Trafalgar Group, who you make fun of and tell him that he's lying, says, look, for every one Trump voter you talk to, there are 4 who will not talk to you. So for every 5 voters, you may get 1 that talks to you and 4 that won't have anything to do with you. And he was right there. The end of the day, though, it's going to be in the courts. Everything's in the courts. Know that. Everything is in the court. Doesn't matter what it is. It's in the courts. You vote on it, somebody's going to take it to court. Your state votes on it, somebody's taking it to court. The only thing that doesn't seem to be taken to court anymore. I can't even think of anything. I can't. Can you think, anybody think of anything that doesn't go to court anymore? Sports goes to court? No, it doesn't. Really? Remember the COVID thing? Remember that whole COVID thing? And then the Big Ten said, well, we're not going to do this. And then the parents got together and the players got together and they're like, we're going to sue you. And they're like, all right, we're going to do this. Everything goes to court. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Love, hate, you name it. So Oregon has went and said, meth, heroin, cocaine, we're going to decriminalize it. How does that work? What's that look like? That's kind of an odd thing. No, it's not. They don't do anything anyways. Look at Seattle. Go watch Seattle's dying. You're going to be like, wow, that is nasty. What the hell is happening here? 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. Car Shield, 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free. For free. If your car happens to go in the shop, you choose the shop, take it to dealership, they get them paid directly. So that check engine light comes on. And for many of you out there, you don't have any more warranty. The average car on the road is about 11 years old. And so you have no warranty. And then you start to worry about, okay, what's this going to cost me? Am I going to have to make a decision where I want to go out and take out a new loan to get a car? Oh, my goodness. Nope. With Car Shield, you get covered repairs. So you don't have to worry about it. You don't. Figure out exactly what it is you're looking for to protect in your car. Maybe it's everything. Maybe it's just the electronics in the car. Maybe it's your engine and your transmission. You call 800-CAR-6000, use promo code Benson. They got plans that start as low as $99 a month. Don't fret over that check engine light because it's an inevitability that it's going to pop up. Get yourself covered for covered repairs. Call 800-CAR-6000, use promo code Benson to save 10%, or visit carshield.com, carshield.com. Promo code Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
You stink like fear and white male privilege to me.
I do often out myself verbally as a gender. My pronouns are they, them, and I'm proud to be a gender.
Are you stupid? What? Are you kidding me? Not a great way to use your white privilege.
Some people get it, some people don't.
You're listening to The Chad Benson Show.
Without a sense of who is going to be in that office, they have to delay big decision making. And the longer they delay that decision making, especially in an economy like this one where unemployment is 7.9%, 12.6 million Americans are out of work, and that time delay, it becomes a more significant and pressing issue.
Yes. Let me tell you, people say, well, do they want a Republican in or do they want a Democrat when it comes to the stock market and things like that? I'm going to tell you guys this right now. The financial markets don't care. They don't care what side. They give money to both sides. You know what they want to be? Left alone. Let business do business, and that's what they want. They'll figure everything else out. Just tell us where we stand, what the rules are, and then we'll go from there. We want stability, not insecurity. People who day trade, they want volatility. Investors, they want stability.
What Wall Street was looking for tonight was this decisive victory, some sort of closure. And many veterans on Wall Street told me they weren't even necessarily concerned with who would be the winner, but that there was a decisive victory. But this closure that we clearly are not going to have for an extended period of time now, that is the uncertainty that weighs on the market.
Yeah. Now, what's helping the market a little bit is the fact that it looks like Biden is why would that help the market? Because the market, I'm telling you guys, they don't care. What they want is stability. They can work around everything else. What they want is, what's the game? Okay, this is the game. What are the rules? Here are the rules. Fantastic. Thanks so much. We're going to get on with it. That's all they want. That's it. So, you have it laid out there. And it matters because everybody out there, a lot of you have 401k and retirement plans. Oh, I don't have stocks. You have a 401k? Then you have stocks. Oh, I didn't think of it that way. Yeah. You're not a day trader. Day traders want volatility because that's where they make their money, in movements. Investors, you put it in there because your whole thing is, I want growth. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Let's take a deep breath and let's all feel like we could use a change of pace. And to do that, I'm going to point you to a kid's song, and I'm going to tell you how much money it's made because it's insane.
All hail Baby Shark. The video, officially called Baby Shark Dance, is now the most watched video on YouTube ever, with more than 7.04 billion views. The song, from South Korean-based family content company Pinkfong, launched on YouTube 5 years ago, to the delight of children and annoyance of mommy and daddy sharks worldwide. It passes Luis Fonsi and Daddy Yankee's Despacito as the top YouTube video. Estimates are that Baby Shark Dance has made over $5 million just from YouTube streams alone.
Yeah. Now, if you break it down based on everything from YouTube and everything else, you're heading to the most profitable song potentially in history. A song that annoys everybody, but it's that earwig. And so today, when you're frustrated, today when you're thinking to yourself, this is just driving me crazy, just think, Baby Shark, do-do-do-do-do-do, Baby Shark, do-do-do-do-do-do. And you're going to be like, I hate that song, but you'll say it with a smile. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from you. Chad Benson Show. TV is your YouTube. Has some content up there a little bit later today. And we're going to do a Facebook Live also later today. Check that out. Chad Benson Show. It is that Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The president, as a very shrewd and crafty campaigner, talking about the concept of COVID fatigue and that people are sick of it. But I think the way we were interpreting things leading into Election Day was that he would get significant blame for how he's handled this, because the polls have certainly shown that people do not approve of his handling of it. But we're not seeing that resounding vote against the president on the current health crisis the country's facing.
No. And once again, there's a reason for that. The fatigue. What people are missing, and I'm trying to walk it through today. Last night, Van Jones came out, and he was his usual Van Jones self, somewhere between tears and anger.
I think a lot of Democrats are hurt tonight. I think there's a lot of hurt out there. There's a moral victory and there's a political victory. They're not the same thing. The political victory still may come. I think for people who saw babies being snatched away from their mothers at the border, for people who are sending their kids into schools where the N-word is now being used against them, for people who have seen this wave of intolerance, they wanted a moral victory tonight. We wanted to see a repudiation of this direction for the country. And the fact that it's this close, I think, it hurts. It just hurts.
What hurts? First of all, what school are the kids going to? Just curious. Because one school somewhere, somebody said something stupid, and now that's like every school. Kids are being snatched away. A lot of kids were sent here without parents, handed over to coyotes. No, not the dogs, for you idiots out there. Not the canines. Still one of the funniest things when Trump talked about coyotes. People are like, how could coyotes bring children across? They train them? Those people vote. You're not getting it. It's liberties. It's freedoms. That's what people want. That's what people want. They want their liberties. They want their freedoms. They want to be able to do the things they want to do. They want to be able to live in peace. And you talk about intolerance. How about the intolerance of the uber left, right? Where you can cancel anybody, where you can tell. To this day, I'm still flabbergasted why they got rid of flat earthers on YouTube. Who in God's name did that hurt? That's the stuff that scares people. Canceling the likes of Alex Jones, as much as I dislike Alex Jones and the way that he goes about doing things, canceling people like that, taking away people's speech and ability to earn money and to live. Guess what? People are sick and tired of it. You're missing the point. Being told on a daily basis, are you white? Yeah, well, you're racist inherently. And you have no choice but to be. Why? Why am I? Because you are inherently. That's it. It's born. It's in you. People get sick and tired of it, right? They don't want to hear that. They're over it. They want liberties. They want their freedoms. And one of the things that is coming back that helped Biden for a while but then hurt Biden is COVID. Why? Because they're looking around and they're thinking to themselves, I don't want to be locked up in my house anymore. I don't want to have a start-stop in my kids' education anymore. I don't want to see my business shut down for the umpteenth time. I don't want to be told any more about any of this stuff. Because what you guys were doing in states didn't seem to be slowing any of this down. The federal government, they ain't got any idea what's going on. At some point in time, you know what? Let people live their life. That's what they want. You're missing the point. You're too busy out there making everybody a victim, telling even the people that are, hey, you're poor and white, you're voting against your own best interest. No, their best interest is, I just want to be left alone. I want to worship how I want to worship. I want to be able to have my guns. I want to be able to live my life. And I don't want you telling me what I can and can't do. People miss the point. They just do. It's amazing. That's what so much of this was about. Yeah, there's fatigue. There's COVID fatigue. A lot of people are out there thinking to themselves, look, at the beginning of this, we didn't know what was coming. We didn't. We didn't know what was coming. But then we started to realize it, and we started to see a battle. Some of it was completely stupid. Should wear a mask, should wear a mask. Those things got ridiculous. Trump made it even more political. Trump poo-pooed it away. Oh, my God, it's going to go away by Easter. It's going to go away by this, that, and the other. Trump played too much politics in his own game, but the other side played politics, too. Let's shut it down. Let's keep it shut down. Let's flatten the curve. Now let's find a cure. Now let's just solve death. You're waiting for the government to come give you a check to try to save your next month or two. Your business. People want to live. You're missing the point. And they'll still miss it because you heard that right there. Feels pretty tone deaf to me. It feels pretty tone deaf to me. It does.
I think people got their hopes up looking at those polls. The political victory, I think, is still possible because you still have Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Nevada. The political victory may yet come. But I think I have to be honest tonight that I think that there were people who were hoping for a big repudiation, and that has not yet come.
No, and it's not going to. You didn't get the blue wave. The Senate stayed pretty much where it was. Maybe picked a few seats up here and there in the House, but at the end of the day, you didn't get that. Maybe you get Biden, but what's it really change? You're going to have 70 million people that didn't vote for Biden. Trump started a movement, not just a moment. Oh, a movement of racism? Get over yourself. Enough. It's ridiculous. No matter what you point out to people, you know what's happened? People are sick and tired of finding out that feelings now override facts. 2 + 2 is 8 because little Johnny says so. Oh, wait, little Johnny wants to be little Jenny. We can't question that. We can't even accept it. You have to cheer it on now. This is the stuff that people are kind of over. Hate to break the news to you. And it's not because 70 million Americans are racist. It's because 70 million Americans love their freedoms and their liberties. 70 million Americans are saying to yourself, are you seeing what's going on? And this isn't even about Joe Biden or Donald Trump. This is about a frustration of a bunch of people who are looking over there saying, you guys are the liberal elites. You guys are the intelligentsia. You guys are the people that are indoctrinating kids who are coming out of school with the I hate America, I deserve everything, socialism's great. People are shocked that I can't believe Trump won so well in Florida. I can. Everybody rides Trump. I can't believe he talks to Kim Jong-un. You got people in Cuba going, hey, we're 90 miles away and I used a refrigerator to get me and my family out of Cuba to float over here through shark-infested waters and the Bermuda Triangle. Because this guy is evil. The same guy that's telling the Soviets way back in the day, yeah, you guys should put some missiles here. Remember that guy? And you guys were like, let's normalize relationships. People are sick and tired. I can't believe the Latin vote grew a little bit for Trump. And there's, yeah, Here's a perfect example. And this is what this is the perfect example. Chelsea Handler tells, for all the racist things that all these Trump supporters supposedly do, Chelsea Handler goes on television and says, I had to remind him he was black, and black people don't vote that way. That, to me, is beyond racist. That is insane. That is insane. And people are like, well, it's true. No, it's not. Because you know what? I talk to a lot of people who are sick and tired of being told, hey, because you're this or because you're that, because you're this, because you're a victim. You're not a victim. You're not a victim. You're not. You're responsible for your own life. There may be some things that happen, but at the end of the day, you're responsible for you. Individual choices. But people are frustrated. They want their liberties protected. They want their constitutional liberties protected. Those things right there. Freedom of assembly and speech. Right? Your freedom to have their fire. Oh, we're going to come and take your fire. We're going to come do. It's always about we're going to take. People had enough. And over again, they miss the ball. And they're going to continue to do so unless they wake up and go, you know what? Maybe we should take a deep breath and say, we don't need these things. We don't need to demonize certain people. And the sad thing is, the majority of Democrats don't. But there's a group out there that does. And unfortunately, much like the crazy on the right, they tend to have the bully pulpit. Over and over again, whether it was last election or this election, you're missing it. And then you'll go, oh, we better figure out what happened, why it didn't go the way we thought. And they'll throw everything out there and they'll blame the voters or they'll blame this or they'll blame the Trump people and this, that, and the other. They'll blame, and they won't look and go, maybe, just maybe it was us. Maybe the messaging we're having is the messaging's wrong. Maybe blaming people and telling them they're this, that, and the other isn't right. Maybe the thought process defunding the police rather than saying we need to reallocate funds in certain areas and increase funds here. Maybe, just maybe, we need to say, hey, you know what? We need to stop canceling everybody. We need to have more open dialogue. Maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet, text. Love hearing from every single one of you. My Pillow, Giza Dream Sheets. Awesome. Egyptian cotton. It's amazing. Feels like $1 million. Slept in a hotel last night. A very nice hotel that they put me up in because I was going to be here so late. Right across the street. Really uber nice. My Giza Dream Sheets blow those out of the water. They were nice sheets. They were. This is how amazing these are. 60-day money-back guarantee. 10-year warranty. Colors, sizes, all kinds of different things. And when you wash them, they don't shrink, so they don't fit again, which is always my frustration. Right now, MyPillow's got a 2-for-1 pricing on Giza Dream Sheets. This is what I want you to go. MyPillow.com. Use the promo code Benson. You're going to get 2-for-1 pricing. So maybe you've got your bed and your kid's bed or something like that. You want to do that. Maybe you just want to double up on those. Enjoy it. Take it. You're going to love it. It's going to be like sleeping on $1 million. Giza Dream Sheets. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. MyPillow.com. Promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Let's take a look, see what's trending. I'm going to give you guys a hint. It's the election. Did you guys guess that? Oh, you did? Fantastic. Lots of post-election. Ben Shapiro tweeted out, no, Trump has not already won the election. It's deeply irresponsible for him to say that, which is what we've been saying. It's ridiculous. Lots of Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Georgia. Senate races across the board. The Electoral College, how's it work? What happens if there's a tie? We'll break that down. Actually, the tie thing is very interesting. Head on over to the magical world of Google. Start to find out, hey, places like Milwaukee. Trending. Milwaukee? Yeah. Congressional elections trending. The electoral map trending. Kamala Harris trending. Mark Kelly trending. And the Dow is trending. Because why? Well, it's not just to understand that how these financial markets perform will play a lot into the global economy. And they're not quite sure what's going on. And there's a letter, socialism. What is socialism? The voice of the community. The Chronicle Online. This is trending. What is socialism? Socialism is when the state controls the means of production that is own factories, and that's where the people work. America is not like a socialist state at all. We are a democratic republic of states with capitalistic economy. No one wants to change that, not even Bernie Sanders, who will admit he made a grave marketing error in deciding to call himself a democratic socialist, opening up the door for all undereducated alarmists to align himself or anyone with the term social. And then it goes on. No. Bernie pretends. Let me tell you something. Here's where he's wrong. Bernie actually would love to be a straight socialist. Would love for government to take more control into people's lives, in particular, the means of production. And I think there's that group out there that would love that. The squad, whatever you want to call them, that feel that way. The average Democrat is not that. They want the rich to pay their fair share, right? They want that. They don't think an assault weapon should be in every baby's hands. They'll point that out. They want the opportunity to make sure that their health care is affordable. I don't think any of that's wrong. I don't. I think they're wrong on something like that when it comes to somebody like Bernie, because I think, look, Bernie, you look at Bernie, he's far more radical than they make him out. Oh, I can't believe that. He would love that. The thing is, he tries to align himself with a place like, the Scandinavian nations, and they'll tell you, we're a free market society with high taxes, and we stunt growth. We tried real socialism, and it went horrible for us in the 70s, and we're like, we can't do this anymore because we can't afford anything. They want to make sure that everything is equal. They want the equity side of it. Can we try to make it so everybody kind of ends up in the same place? The average Democrat doesn't want that. The average Democrat, they're a classic liberal, whatever you want to call them. They just want the same opportunities. They all want to get to the same place, and they understand that, you know what, we're not going to tax you 55, 60, 70% because that's ridiculous. We don't want to take your freedom of speech. That's ridiculous. They believe in choice and marriage equality. Get over yourselves, people, for God's sakes. But they don't want government running everything. The thing is, though, too often than not, much like everything else, you get people who squeak the loudest, so they get the grease and the bullhorn. And they're like, ah! The exhausted majority, that's us. I was thinking last night, we need to start a third party. The third party, though, first thing we need to do, it's all about branding if we've learned anything. What's the animal we pick? 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
All right. So I don't know if you guys heard or were aware at all, but yesterday was Tuesday. So that was awesome. So there was that. And there was an election. Joining us now, Jim Kennedy, the Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. So, Jim, you fell, would you pass out about what, 1 o'clock in the morning, which would have been about 3 or so or 4 on the East Coast, and you woke up today and nothing has changed.
No, nothing. Well, nothing has changed. Yeah, but it was about that time. It was actually Wisconsin and Michigan were red when I kind of dozed off. It looks like they've turned blue. Arizona was kind of called, but not called. Nevada was going to be really close, which it really is. And Pennsylvania people, unlike me, went home and had some sleep and decided to come back today or whenever they're done, and we'll come back and start counting votes. But they may not be done until Friday. So yeah, kind of where we are right now.
And that's kind of, so let's map out something, because you're really good at this kind of stuff, because you're a bit more wonky than a lot of people. That's why I bring you on. I love you because you do get a little bit wonky. Trump needs Georgia, and that's going to be, you got DeKalb County and Fulton County and stuff, still some more there. He needs Georgia big time. And he needs Pennsylvania and probably Wisconsin or Michigan if he's to have any chance.
Correct. If you assume Arizona and Nevada are blue, which is what they currently are, though very narrowly, are currently blue. Yes, Georgia and North Carolina are an absolute given. And then he has to win 2 of the 3 of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, which are still outstanding. Pennsylvania looks fairly solid, though there's, I think, still almost 2 million votes floating around, though you don't know exactly how many of those have been returned or will be returned. But they expect to possibly 2 million more votes. And at least as of last night, earlier this morning, I should say, about 1 million of those were floating around the Philadelphia area, which are going to be probably predominantly blue Biden votes. Michigan and Wisconsin kept staying red most of the night, but there were votes outstanding in the 2 big urban areas, Michigan, Detroit, which would be Oakland County, and Minnesota, Milwaukee, which would be Milwaukee County. And those votes were trickling in very slowly. So that's why it took a time for both Wisconsin and Michigan to turn very narrowly blue as they are this morning.
It's crazy. And, but here's the thing that's crazy and we were talking about this a while ago, is the fact that even within the states, Jim, each county counts a completely different way, which is one of the reasons why the whole Bush-Gore thing got chaotic, is because they're like, hold on a second. What do you mean that this county counts this way and you guys count this way? Shouldn't it be just uniformity in your state? It's going to be different at a federal level because we don't have that, but it should be uniformity in your state.
Correct. Yeah. Generally, the Secretary of State of the state oversees it. But yeah, each county counts their own. Same thing here in California. I know they count differently. Orange County counts differently than Los Angeles County does. And yeah, there were some Pennsylvania counties. Philadelphia had 24-hour people coming in every 8 hours to count votes. But some of the smaller counties in the rural parts said, okay, well, it's 10 o'clock. We're going home for the night. We'll be back at 8 or 9 in the morning, and we'll give you an update maybe around noon. And I know earlier in the night, Pennsylvania had said that they'd committed to counting all the votes by the end of the day, Friday, hopefully. And I was like, wait a minute, Friday? I mean, that's not what we're looking for here. Get people in there. You need to be counting these things more than just on an 8 hour a day basis. You need to be doing them around the clock. I know some people that have worked elections in California, and they were just like going, what the heck? I think even you, when I texted you last night, you're going, are you kidding me? They're going home and they're not going to keep counting votes all night. But yeah, the nation's waiting on you, but they're going to get a good night's sleep instead.
They say earlier today that there's 1 million votes still outstanding in Pennsylvania, and so that's huge. Take away the presidential side. Let's move aside from that, because that in and itself is going to be litigated over and over. Something that probably isn't going to be litigated is the fact that there wasn't the blue wave. The Senate didn't jump over to the side of the Democrats, which I think a lot of people thought, well, they're going to be able to get 3 or 4 seats. McSally is almost assured, and that was, but Lindsey looks weak, and you got Susan Collins and Joni Ernst. And there's no way that, Tom Tillis and Doug Jones has to win. And it didn't happen.
No, it didn't. We were talking yesterday about Susan Collins, and everything I'd seen looked fairly dour for her, but she looks like she's winning marginally easily. Lindsey Graham's race, even though they threw almost $100 million at him from his opponent, wasn't really that close. Also in Texas, John Cornyn looked like he was under some pressure. He won okay. Joni Ernst won going away, and even the race up in Montana with Daines looked like it was going to be either close or a blue win. So yeah, it definitely wasn't a blue wave last night. It was basically pretty much even. Everybody was winning that was supposed to. It took a long time for even to have on the presidential side one state flip that wasn't won by either the Democrats or the Republicans in 2016. So yeah, so it looks like the Republicans are going to keep the Senate, and they're going to have pretty much about the same margin that they did going into the night. So that's good for them.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research, as we break down yesterday's kind of whatever it was, election thingy, bababa, that's still not done at all, but we're still counting. I've been saying that the left in particular, Jim, is missing the point of why this wasn't the referendum that they were hoping for, because they believe that it's this guy's orange, he's the orange guy, he's bad, everything's evil, he's racist, he's Nazis, all of these things. And I keep saying it, hey, you guys are missing the point. He started something here, because you say that about him, but then you say it about everybody else, and they're sick and tired of hearing it. They're sick and tired of being lectured to. And I feel like they're not listening as they dissect this and do their post-mortem, look back, that you're missing out on the key element.
Absolutely. I mean, 8 and 12 years ago, there was no prayer for a Republican to be challenging in Wisconsin and Michigan. And now it is, Trump won them in 16, or Trump won them in 16, and then it looks like and can maybe win, maybe not win them in 2020, because he is appealing to those working class people that the Republicans haven't appealed to before. And that's something the Democrats need to be listening to. Trump did pull about 12% of the black vote from the numbers I've seen so far. He only pulled 8%, but that basically would double what Romney pulled at 6% in 2012. So he's doing much better amongst African Americans, though not enough apparently to win, but enough to get, to make it challenging to where the African Americans are beginning to possibly look at voting Republican. That would certainly be a big sea change for the Democratic Party if they would lose a higher percentage of the African vote going forward. But yeah, Trump's basically making different people come to the polls. I know there's a lot of concern in Michigan with the unionized auto workers were coming out voting for Trump. That was scaring a lot of the Democrats up there. And I think that's what's made this race so close, was the fact that he is getting union crossover votes, kind of like the way Reagan did back in the 80s, where he'd get the Reagan Democrats that were working class people that would always be Democratic union-backed voters that were turning out to decide they weren't just going to go vote because somebody told them they should vote blue all the time.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. Jim, one of the other things is the coronavirus, for a lot of people, really didn't register. And, Trump got a lot of blame for this, and rightly so. He made more than a few missteps, and a lot of his missteps happened to be they were stupid. Like the mask thing. You could have been smarter about that. The always saying, it's going to go away tomorrow thing. You could have been way better on that. But the reality, at the end of the day, this was always a states' right thing when you hand everything over to people. And I think people started looking around going, I feel like I'm losing my ability to make a living and some of my freedoms, all for protection of a virus that you said was so deadly that isn't. And I think what helped Biden early kind of hurt Biden.
Yeah, certainly in the States, it was, if you were a reddish state, you were not going to be a Biden fan if you did not believe, if you weren't concerned about wearing a mask. But if you were one, you probably were voting for Joe Biden. That's kind of a way that, unfortunately, the politicization of the virus has come down to, and it did work out that way in many of those states. And I'm sure, Michigan, there were many unhappy people in Michigan over the, during the lockdown, over ruining the economy. And basically, having to wear masks when they go out, that have upset a lot of people, and that probably helped Trump get some more red votes in Michigan and Wisconsin. So it really did politicize it, unfortunately. For some people, it was a large concern. For others, the economy was much larger of a concern for them. And if you look at the numbers, people that were better off voted, quite a bit for Donald Trump. If you were worse off than you were 4 years ago, because of the coronavirus or whatever economically, you voted with Biden. But also Biden seemed to get most of the vote on about a 60-40 basis for those that weren't better or worse off, that were about the same. So that's something that probably hurt Trump out. You would think that those, because of what possibly can come forward in a Trump administration going forward, economic growth that we had seen up until the coronavirus, that those people might think they could do better, but they seem to side on a 60-40 basis with Joe Biden.
Talking to Jim Kennedy, Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. All right, Jim, 50,000-foot view, look into your crystal ball, channel your inner Nostradamus. Where do you see this Friday, close of business? Who, what, when, how, and why is the president of the United States?
Joe Biden could be the president-elect based upon various things. I've seen information coming out of the White House that they think that they're going to win Nevada or Arizona. They think they've got a few thousand votes on their side that are going to give it to them, which would give it to Trump. As of right now, with Arizona blue, Nevada blue, Wisconsin blue, Michigan blue, Joe Biden is the president-elect. If any of those four states, I think based upon my math, goes red, including Georgia and North Carolina, which are givens that are red at this point, then Donald Trump would be reelected. So until we get those votes count, and then again, Pennsylvania has to stay red, and those votes, like I said, may not be counted until Friday. And then, as you've also mentioned, we've also got whatever legal action the sides may take for either side that has won or lost the state. If Nevada flips red at the end, I'm sure there's going to be a whole bevy of Biden lawyers in there looking into it and wanting to sue about it. Same thing if Arizona, for some reason, flips red. And I'm sure the Trump people will be up in Wisconsin and Michigan if something happens there and that state stays blue. I mean, whatever their only paths are to the presidency, they're going to make sure that they challenge them or support them legally.
I am voting for 269 to 269. I think that'd be great. And then,
Chad, it was the year of 2020.
Yeah.
It was 2020, and that's
perfect.
what I expected to happen.
Yeah. And for those of you guys don't know, essentially the way it sounds is the House picks the president and the Senate picks the vice president.
But right now, actually, as of right now, if you want, if we do play out that scenario, based upon what happened last night, I believe it would still be about 20. Each state gets one vote, and Donald Trump would probably win that about 26-22 with two even states right now.
Yeah, it's possible. But wouldn't it be great though if we just said, look, guys, here's the deal. You guys, we're going to pick one of each, and each of you get 2 years, and we don't want any bitching because, quite frankly, you're boring us all to death.
Yeah, but that would be that'd be very interesting. That would really be revolutionary. If you ever possibly could find a way to unite the country, that might be it. That would be an interesting way to do it.
Jim Kennedy, love having you on, brother. As soon as we get some more results, we'll bring you back. Kennedy Institute of Public Policy Research. Check him out at Righty Jim. We'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks, Chad. I appreciate it. Have a good one.
At Chad Benson Show, Twitter, ChadBenson. Love hearing from all of you. Check us out. Raycon, best earbuds around. I was relaxing last night with my Raycons on with all the chaos and craziness that's going on. And, I'm watching the results because we got all the TVs and everything. And I'm just taking a deep breath. And sometimes you need to go in the zone. That's where my E25s from Raycon comes in. Noise isolating fit. And the fit, I'm going to tell you why the fit's the most important thing. Because you go out and you'll spend $250 on some brand that, like, oh man, this player wears that, or this guy wears that, or this lady wears this, and you're buying what? Nothing really. That you're just buying some sort of brand thing that you think is cool, but it's going to have a stem or wires or any of those things. You don't get that with Raycon, and the difference, and I've had them all, is the fit. The fit changes everything because the better the fit, the better the sound quality, the noise isolating, all of that stuff. And E25s and the Raycons knock it out of the park. Now, normally you'd spend a ton. You're going to spend well under $100, and I'm saving you an extra 15%. Go to buyraycon.com/Chad. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Save big. Best earbuds around. Buyraycon.com/Chad. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
It's crazy. A million votes still out there. I will say this, right? I am I'm one of these people where I do think that common sense says, we could probably do this better. Like, we can. We shouldn't. And why there's all these votes out there is because every state does everything different, and counties do it certain ways different. But some states will let you mail in or do absentee. And in some of those states, once the vote comes in, it gets counted. So the day of the election, the minute the polls are done, within a few minutes, those are released, tabulated and released. So we've already got them counted. Here they are. They're released. And then they start counting the day of. In other states, they tell you you can start the day before, or you can start the day of, or in some cases, you start after you've counted all of the in-person voting. I totally fine with leaving it up to the states. I have zero problems with that. My problem is you can't be that much of an idiot that you don't realize that's a problem. Like, I don't, that to me is like, that's what always escapes me. I was like, are you guys not smart? Are we missing something? And there's going to be errors. There's going to be some mistakes. Human beings are running this. Human beings are. These aren't magical robots that have been built. These are just regular human beings. In some cases, who are doing this because they need a gig. And in some cases, they feel it's their civic duty. They're going to make some mistakes. They're going to miss some things. Is it nefarious? No, and a lot of times it's just mistakes, and sometimes it's incompetence. But I'm just saying, for future reference, let's go to past situations and maybe say, all right, let's maybe do it a little bit different. Maybe this time we have this thing buttoned up. So not everybody's looking at us going, well, that was screwed up. Like Arizona messed up 4 years ago. And they're having a battle here right now. Some people are supposedly given Sharpies and they weren't allowed to do it with that. And then there's some magical votes here and nobody wants to call it. And, nobody can believe that Arizona's gone red and there's always some nefariousness. But for all intents and purposes, they got it pretty much right. They fixed their issue. Colorado doesn't have an issue. They fixed theirs a long time ago. Maybe in future, we can go, well, let's get a lot of this stuff counted early. We'll tabulate the vote, release it, and then the day of, we can rock and roll. Throwing it out there. 323-538-2423. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The blue wave that some had predicted in the Senate doesn't appear to be taking hold, but it's still too soon to know which party will control the upper chamber. Incumbent Senate Republicans are holding on to leads in Maine and North Carolina, and GOP Senators Joni Ernst in Iowa and Lindsey Graham in South Carolina have officially held on to their seats despite unprecedented fundraising from their challengers. Democratic contender Mark Kelly is leading in Arizona's Senate race, while former Colorado Governor John Hickenlooper did manage to flip his state Senate seat blue.
Yeah, the blue wave didn't show up. People thought the blue wave was going to arrive. Didn't arrive. Popular vote. Going to be very close for the president. People just ask me, why is this not, aren't we a democracy? No, we're not a democracy. We're a democratic republic. That's who we are. Because if we went straight democracy, a few coastal cities basically will control the majority of what goes on in America. And I think people don't really want that. They don't. I don't think the Democrats understand what's going on. I think they've missed the mark. And by that, I mean the party and certain people within inside the Democratic Party. I don't think they get it. I think that somehow they're still in shock that this wasn't a massive blowout. They're still in shock that this wasn't one of those things where Biden got, 9,000 electoral college votes. Yeah, that's ridiculous. I know. I'm being funny. They don't get it. Well, why did this happen? There's a lot of reasons that this went the way that it went. But so many people out there are like, well, it's policies and the things that Trump did. Look, the reality is Trump did some really good things. Nobody really cares about that. This has never been about policy with people who like Trump. It's never been about that. Listen to his things. It's not about policy. What does Trump rail on? He rails on the media elite. He rails on the coastal communities who think that everybody who lives in the flyover countries drags their knuckles and dates their sisters. He rails on cancel culture. He rails on all kinds of things that have very little. He doesn't stand out there and talk health care and policy. People don't care. No, they come because he pushes back. He's that. I said the day one when he ran and was at that first debate when there was 7,000 Republicans, why Trump is going to push hard and grab a lot of people's attention is because he's just going to come out and people thought it was refreshing because he was able to say stuff and get away with it. You go and look. Who did we like on TV? We like Simon Cowell. Why? Because he could be a Richard, and everybody's like, well, that's kind of cool. Because I would have said that. When everybody else is like, you had Randy and Paul. It's like, you're really trying hard. And he'd be like, you suck. You're awful. You're horrible. I wish I was deaf. That's how bad you are. You're the worst person. Never sing again. Right? And they're like, I think they're not. People like House. Remember House? Why? Because everybody else was tiptoeing around things, trying to make people feel better. House would be like, you're a liar. You're stupid. You're an idiot. No. People are sick and tired of feelings overriding fact and the color of your skin. The whole thought process is you want to be defined as who you are as a person, right? And yet the media they talk about the divisiveness of Trump. How about the media? Listen to, you had Chelsea Handler, who's not part of the media, come out the other day and have to remind 50 Cent that he's black. You have stuff like this.
We know that black and brown men might be trending towards Donald Trump. We know that he's got this whole masculine thing going on. He's got this thing around showing his power. And I wonder if a small break among black men and Latino men might actually make the difference for Trump in this election, where we should have seen significant gains in both of those populations for Joe Biden.
Because he's masculine? I read an article the other day. Black men are supporting Trump because they're misogynistic. Is that why? I hear stuff like that, and I think to myself, you're not getting it. You're not. They don't want to be victims. They don't want to be told, you need to get back to that Democratic plantation over there. You've wandered off, and it's time for you to go back. We know what's best for you, because we're the white saviors. We're the overeducated who understand what's best for you. He's got that power thing going on, that masculine. People like people who are strong, but you're missing out again. Once again, you're putting black and brown men. They're just men. Isn't that what we're supposed to see? Hey, you're just a dude. It's who you are. You're just a guy. And you like Trump for whatever reason. I don't know why you like Trump. Everybody's got their different reasons. You're missing the point. They continue to miss the point. Over and over again, they missed the point. To me, that sounded very elitist, like, oh, you just don't get it. You don't get it at all. They just like his power, and they're misogynistic, and that's the only reason. They're not thinking for themselves. They're not saying to themselves, hey, you know what? I want to have responsibility in my life. I want my freedoms. I want the personal choices that I make to define who I am. I don't want to be made a victim. No, it's none of that stuff. It's the color of your skin decides who you vote for.
But there's been a clear realignment here for the Republican Party to attract new working class voters of all races. And I think also, Don, there's been a rejection of the Democratic Party, of the media in some cases, of the liberal elites in rural America. They feel like they are held to different rules, double standards, and they've been browbeaten over their support of Donald Trump. And they turned out in droves yesterday to let folks know it. So obviously Republicans had something to say last night, and it's not all bad for the party right now.
No. But that's it. He kind of gets it there. You're missing out on so much because you're so hyper-focused on color of the skin, political correctness, making sure that everybody's in the right line that they're supposed to be in, that you check the box, that you shouldn't do this over here, or you can't say this, or let's change this past in history and demonize this group, and you're missing out. You're completely missing the whole thing. Trump started a movement, and it had very little to do with policy and all to do with pushback. He started a movement that has grown. He grew a base, but his base has little to do with Trump and policy and has all to do with Trump and attitude. Nobody wants... People always say, I have friends who support Trump. Well, everybody supports Trump's a racist. And if you vote for Trump, you're a racist. Maxine Waters, I'll never forgive black people who vote for Trump. Wait, you would forgive white people but not black people? All the time I hear, I don't know why poor white people vote for Donald Trump. They're voting against their own interest. No, their interest is freedom. That's what they're interested in. They want their liberties. They want their freedom. They want to be left alone. That's what they would like. And every time they come back, they do their post-mortem like, I don't know what happened. What is it? Were we not left enough? Do we need to control more? And they're going to continue to miss the mark. And they're going to continue to miss the mark. And Trump started something. Now, can the Republicans pick up from here and find somebody who maybe isn't as bombastic, but still has a message? Somebody who is going to carry the baton? Because you do need somebody who, look, and there's a difference between being, like Trump at times, he not only threw hand grenades, he dropped bombs. And that caused him more headache. But it also caused a lot of his supporters to be lumped in certain situations. Is there somebody behind Trump that shows up and is able to deliver a lot of the good that Trump has done in the policy side? Because most people, they aren't paying attention to the policy. You guys are missing the point again. But able to push back. Able to strengthen and redefine a bit of the Republican Party. But everybody here on the left is missing the mark over and over again because they're going to go back to it. And I, at this point, I am not going to tell you who's going to win because it's going to end up in the court systems and that's going to drag on for who knows how long. But the postmortem is going to be, how didn't we get the blue wave? We have a guy that's hated. Yeah, but you have a guy that's also loved. And it's not so much him. It's the attitude. It's the pushback. It's the I don't care. It's the I want my freedoms. And if they can start to realize maybe we need to have a little bit more than that. Maybe we can push back a little bit more. Maybe we don't need to label everybody a victim. It's crazy. All the stuff that Trump says and does. Oh, he doesn't denounce racism all the time, and he should 24/7. He should open up every speech with that, and it still wouldn't be enough. And then you've got somebody who's like, I had to remind him he was black, and black people don't vote that way. And one's evil and racist, and the other one is Chelsea Handler. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. It's just so insane. Wounded Paw Project, amazing organization. Been working with them a while. Fantastic. The work they do is great. So imagine rescuing a dog that would be euthanized and then training them. So taking them from the shelter to service and getting them to veterans, first responders, and their family. Whether it's a veteran coming home and they've suffered wounds in war and they're struggling with those in the physical side, or veterans that are coming home struggling to adjust back into society, having these animals changes their lives. They've expanded to from the veterans to their families, as well as first responders and their families. And this is huge. Now, they need your help. You can give through the donation of a vehicle would be phenomenal. Many of you out there maybe have a vehicle you're not using. You think, I was going to sell it or scrap it or whatnot. Don't. Call Wounded Paw Project, or better yet, go to woundedpawproject.org. Find out how you can give it. The proceeds will be used to protect, advocate, train these dogs and take them from the shelter to get them to our first responders, our veterans, and their family. And it's so amazing. Go to woundedpawproject.org. woundedpawproject.org. See the work they're doing. Find out how you can get involved. They take cash as well. And you go to smile.amazon.com and set your supporting group up to help as well. woundedpawproject.org. woundedpawproject.org. You'll be saving a paw to save a life. Chad Benson Show.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Georgia Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger says they are still tabulating votes after delays election night. As for a recount in the state,
any race that's within 0.5%, state rep, state senator, congressman, or the presidential race, the candidate could ask for that within 0.5%. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Raffensperger says he expects the votes to be counted by the end of the day Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's going to be some recounts before we ever get to the legal side of things. And that legal side of things is going to come. It absolutely is. You've got that. And then you've got what potentially is going to go on in Pennsylvania and what are their laws when it comes to the recounts.
Under Pennsylvania law, if the election's decided between 0.5%, in other words, if it's that narrow, there's an automatic recount. Candidates can petition for recounts as well, and then that will be decided.
Yeah, there's going to be some recounts, and there's going to be legal maneuvering. You name it. It's going to take place. We've always thought that. I mean, has anybody in their right mind? Oh yeah, the pollsters who just screwed up again. Like, they didn't mess up. They failed magnificently. They're like, hey, if we could make this worse than we did in 2016, let's get on that. And they have. And one of the things that should frustrate people, because I still think that Biden probably going to pull this out, but it's going to take we could be here next week or two talking about recounts and fighting over 50,000 votes here and 22,000 votes there, and this is going to end up at the Supreme Court. And I have a feeling that whatever you see over the next, I would say 48 to 72 hours, it means very little because the courts are going to get involved. But at the end of the day, as I look at all these things, and it makes you just think to yourself, like, how do we get ourselves in this position again? Because we did what? Didn't do some of the things we wanted to do when it came to, we saw this coming. We saw the election coming. And states were pretending like they were getting ready for it. And they'd had opportunities in the past to kind of get ready for it. We saw Iowa flail and fail miserably. at the beginning of this entire thing. And here we are. But the thing that should frustrate a lot of people is there was one or two people out there who said this thing's going to be way closer. Trump has a very good chance of winning. And those were many of the same people who predicted it the last time. And the media basically called them stupid. So they failed the last time, the media. And the people that got it right, they turned a blind eye to. And when you talk about it, they would say, those people are idiots. They're stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. And when they get it right again, at this point, nobody's going to listen to anything you have to say. Nate Silver's going to come out and say, well, and sorry, dude, you missed. This is your job. And you didn't get it right. Again. You didn't. Especially on the popular vote side, which you thought it was going to be an absolute smashing. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
President Trump's level of support among white voters was unchanged from 4 years ago, according to exit polls, which showed him leading Joe Biden in that group by about 15%. President support was up by 5% among non-white voters, even though all of those groups favored Biden. Following the president's pleas of support from women, he saw his standing improve among them slightly, even though they still went for Joe Biden, 56-43. Across all demographic groups, the only one the president underperformed from 4 years ago were white men, which he still carried by an 18-point margin.
He did better. He did better. What? How? Why? Because people of color, because that's you guys say people of color. I call them Americans, but you want to put them in a box, do it. They're waking up and saying, you know what? I'm thinking you guys over here, you guys think that we owe you something because you come out and you show up in the areas that you figure, oh, I got to pay them a courtesy and show up over here and tell them that, hey, you know what? The only reason you are where you are is because the color of your skin, and I'm here to save you, and let me tell you how I'm going to do it. And those guys over there are evil or bad, and you know what? We are the ones that care. We're not racist. No. Chelsea Handler had every right to say that, hey, 50 Cent, I have to remind you, you're black. You need to come back over here where you belong. Get in the back of that bus. Oh, Chad, how dare you? How about this last night, Joy Reid?
Somehow they managed to stumble into the Supreme Court. Do any of you guys trust Uncle Clarence?
Uncle Clarence? Uncle Clarence? Trump's evil and bad. Look, he's a lot of things. Is he an a-hole? I got no problems with that. I have zero problems with that. There's a lot of people out there that suck. You can't tell me that is not vile. If you're going to look out there and tell me all these evil things that Trump does, once again, I'm telling you, you're missing the mark. You're going to call him Uncle Clarence? Why? Because he's black and doesn't believe the way that you do, so somehow automatically he's not really black. He's just in the pocket of the man. That's sad. Keep doing what you're doing and you're going to continue to get the same results. You're waking up today and tomorrow and the next day, and eventually it could all be through the courts and everything else that we're going to get in the recounts, and Biden may be president. But the blue wave never came, and Trump even got more voters. And things like, I need to remind him he's black, Uncle Clarence, black men only like Trump because of they're misogynistic. Eventually they start to go, wow. This spell is wearing off, and you guys only seem to care about the color of the skin and which way I'm voting. If I vote for somebody who is not what you think I should vote for, Trump or any other Republican, that somehow I'm no longer worthy of the color of my skin. It's the same way with, like, judge the color of your skin. Oh, you voted for Trump. Well, you must be a racist. Who'd you vote for, Chad? I voted for somebody. I did. I'll tell you right now. I voted for Joe Jorgensen. Why? I think we need a strong third party in this country. And I like a lot of the stuff Trump has done, and this has nothing to do with Trump or no Trump. And I don't dislike Biden. I am more worried about the people behind Biden than anything else. But I'll tell you this right now. We need a strong third party for a real reason, because these two have a monopoly on the press and the voters in this country that they don't need to have. There's no more common sense. There's no more, hey, guess what? I'm not going to get everything I like. I totally understand that. But there are some things that I am going to get. And I am more concerned about moving the ball forward than I am whether or not I get 100% of everything, which ends up being nothing, and the ball stays in the same place. We need a strong third party because we need somebody, especially in a day and age where we can no longer say some of the things that we used to say. The field goal posts are moving all the time. People are getting in trouble. People are getting shut down. People are getting canceled. We need a strong third party just to hold these parties accountable. That's why. She had no chance of winning. Hell, Kanye probably had a better chance. I think Kanye polled pretty well in Minnesota. I was kind of looking for, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was a little looking forward to Inauguration. Because what was in his first album, Producer? Wasn't it Graduation? And this would have been Inauguration.
Oh, that would have been great.
He could have dropped an album while he was inaugurated. And I'd have been like, I like that. But we need a strong third party because there is an underserved group of Americans that aren't super left or super right, that have been abandoned by both parties, that are sick and tired of the politics with inside of it, that want a little bit of Trump, but also understand that we need a little bit of the Democratic side as well, that are okay with marriage equality and choice. But here's the thing. I don't want to pay for your choice. And at some point you make a choice and you can't say 8 months in, I want to go to Cabo. We need a strong third party where there is common sense saying, you know what? We need to have more competition and drive these healthcare costs down. And maybe we give some people the public option. We tax in a real way and spend it in the right way. We need a strong third option because even if we only have 10 to 15% of the vote, we can do enough that it causes both parties to come to us to make deals. That's what we need. That's the frustration that I have in our system as I see it now. As I see it now, I'm frustrated because I don't think any of these parties have a monopoly on good or bad ideas. Unfortunately, they're the only ones with a monopoly on all the ideas. Because the people that have ideas, who are looking out for people who actually care, they don't get the microphone. They don't get the airtime. That stuff goes to the loudest. Not the best, but the loudest. So that's why I chose. And we need to see some change, because there is 70% of Americans, most Americans I talk to, voting Americans, most of them, they're not super right or super left. They're kind of apolitical up until the time to vote for something. They look at everything, right? They'll vote to legalize marijuana, but nah, we're not going to vote on this tax increase. Well, that's kind of strange. They'll vote for marriage equality and say it's okay, and they're totally fine with it. But at the same time, they're like, you know what? I do want a strong immigration system, and I think we have been taken advantage of. These are just the things that we're missing out on because people don't have a voice. The voice that they really need. It's one of the reasons people like Trump again. Like I tell you over and over again, it's not the policies. It's not the politics with Trump. It's the attitude and the pushback. He started a movement, and I think both sides are going to start to see fracturing inside of their parties. You're going to have the Trump wing. You're going to have the uber conservatives. And you're going to have a lot of other people that make up 50, 60% of that party are like, what about us? And on the Democratic side, you're going to have the old conservative Democrats, the Reagan Democrats, the average Democrat. And then you're going to have the Bernie wing, uber progressives. And then you're going to have the political power grabbing Democrats. And if you take those average Democrats, the Reagan Democrats, the conservative Democrats, the union Democrats, and you say over here to the Republicans, look, you guys, we're not going to all agree on everything, but we can come together, and what we can do is start to set some things straight and give people the opportunity to have a voice and do it in the right way and keep these groups in check. I think I'm all for that. I don't know about you guys. Sounds good. First thing we need to do is branding. I joked about it, but it's true. What kind of animal? Because we need an animal. I say honey badger. Because it's little, but it fights, and it'll take on a pride of lions. They don't care. That's kind of what we're about. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from you. Car Shield. 24/7 roadside assistance. A rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. When you do that, they get them paid directly. Take it to the dealership, whatever. So you're worried about that check engine light. The check engine light comes on, or maybe you're thinking to yourself, I don't have a warranty, and this is going to cost me, oh, my God, how much? And then you start, oh, my God, I'm going to buy a new car. What am I going to do? This is why you get Car Shield. They have rates that start as low as $99 a month, and you just call them up, 800-CAR-6000. Be specific in what it is that you're looking for. And when you do that, they'll tell you, all right, so you want what? You're worried about your transmission? You're worried about your engine? Okay, this is the plan we have for you. Oh, maybe you're worried about the electronics in your car because you understand that once those sensors go out, it's like, you know, you need to be an IT professional to get back there and put those things in, and that could cost a ton of money. Be specific. They'll take care of you, and you don't have to fret about covered repairs anymore. Again, plans start as low as $99 a month, 800-CAR-6000. Use code Benson to save 10%. Or go to carshield.com, carshield.com. Use promo code Benson. Save 10%. Chad Benson Show.
Don't let the Washington Beltway strangle you. This is where the exhausted majority comes to refuel, realign, and reevaluate. This is Chad Benson.
Before Election Day, many polls and prognosticators suggested a possible so-called blue wave, carrying Joe Biden to a big presidential win.
The polling was wrong. It was wrong again, even worse than it was in 2016.
ABC News contributor and former Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel says President Trump turned out voters that weren't picked up in the polls. ABC News political director Rick Klein agrees.
President Trump found new voters in this election and matched them almost voter for voter against the voters of the Democrats. This huge election, I think a lot of pollsters thought if you had an enormous turnout, you'd by definition have more Democrats. But it may be that you actually captured a lot of Republicans as well.
Former member of Congress Barbara Comstock, a Republican, tells ABC News.
Not only were the public polls wrong, Republican internal polls were wrong. We were a lot more worried about whether we were going to lose House seats, and now it looks like we gained them and gained some really good women that I worked with. So I was very happy to see those races go through.
What? Yeah. Because buyers are liars. And that was proven in 2016 because people lied. And in 2020, people lied again. Is it enough to get Trump over the finish line? Probably not. But today you're going to, and let me tell you what the next 72 hours is going to look like. Something will break. People will get sad. Then their emotions will come because, hold on a second. Something over here happened. You get excited. And then something happens over here. And you're going to go up and down and up and down and up and down. And then somebody will be declared a winner. But we're going to need a recount. So we're going to get a couple recounts. And then along with the recounts, we're going to need challenges because we don't think these ballots should have been counted or these ballots should have been counted. That's what's going to take place. If you're trying to follow this, it's going to make you sick. If you're trying to follow this, you're trying too hard. Read a book. Go for a walk. Play with your kids. Those things matter far more. At this point in time, what's done is done, and now it's about the calculation, which you and I have nothing to do with, and then it has to do potentially with the recalculation and the courts. That's it. Yesterday, it's over the weekend, my buddy and the big boss here for my local show. So I do my national show and I do my local show. And it's my business, my own business. And I partnered somebody here, and it's kind of a weird dynamic that we have because I don't really work for the company, but I do work for the station. And it's very interesting the way that plays itself out. But I've become friends with the guy who runs this. And over the weekend, he came to my house because he's like, Chad, my son Weston, it's his birthday. His birthday was yesterday. And he lives for reptiles, but his wife and him, very squeamish. So to come and see all of your reptiles would be like a dream come true. So they came over on Saturday, Halloween Day, and he got to see my reptiles. And for those guys who don't follow the show or don't know, I have a plethora of giant lizards. Not talking like, oh, you got like your lizard's like 2 feet long. No, I have 6-7 foot lizards that, can take down rabbits and stuff. I mean, I have massive things, and I have a plethora of giant snakes in the whole 9 yards. So he came over and spent a few hours there and just loved every second of it. And he wrote me a letter yesterday that was just the sweetest thing you've ever seen in your life, and talking about how it was the greatest day of his life and the whole 9 yards. And I've been talking to his dad, and I just said, get him a snake. And he's like, I hate snakes, the whole 9 yards. I said, I have a snake. His name's Peanut. It's just a ball python. He's the sweetest thing in the world. He's a baby. He needs a perfect home. I've got all these other things, and he's actually what they call, he's het for something. So he could, if he produced, he would produce potentially different kinds of morphs and stuff. But I said, he'll love him. And he came over, and the note he wrote yesterday, which he wouldn't let his dad read, talked about how it was the greatest time of his life, how it was the most amazing thing, and he got to hold Peanut for a long time. He's like, I miss Peanut. Tell him hi. So his dad said, all right, let's do Peanut. So he took it home yesterday. So I brought Peanut in, and I brought him a cage and everything. And his dad took him home, and he got him lunch because he's doing stuff out of school. Says, middle of the day. He goes over, says, hey, Weston, your sandwich is here. And Weston comes out, and he's walking, and he's looking, and dad's filming it. And he sees the cage, and he sees that. And he starts to almost cry and hyperventilate, and his sister's older, starting to tear up. And then he turns and he runs to his dad who's filming and gives him the biggest hug. And I think at the end of the day, those things matter. All the rest of this, for all intents and purposes, it's just pretty much noise. At the end of the day, you control you. And I think we need to get back to more of that. You guys have a blessed, wonderful day. Be kind to each other. We'll do it again tomorrow, as always. Got you over the hump, because that's what we do. Night, night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.